We're a CASA certified drone training organisation. So what that basically means is that you come and train with us. After 5 days, we send all your documentation back to CASA, and CASA will award you that licence. That licence is usable in Australia, plus a number of other countries that are close by, like New Zealand, right? And shortly, and when I'm saying shortly, we're talking about the next 12 months, there is a discussion going on to make that an international licence as well.
So you've seen a lot of growth in people wanting to learn how to pilot drones?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I just shared some figures. Our company has trained over 150 just in the last 12 months. We've now grown where we've actually conducting our first training course in Kalgoorlie this week, as we speak. We've got 7 people being trained on there. We've got our own course next week with 9 people. We're going to be in Tasmania next month as well. So yeah, it's because what people are finding is that these drones can help them. It's a great tool to help them reduce their costs, improve operational safety, and more importantly, help take people away from dangerous positions.
Right, so what sort of industries are drones being used for in Western Australia?
Well, the biggest one is mining, and then there's construction, agriculture, safety from shark detection, dropping off flotation devices. Even farmers are using them to analyze the crop health, and that is allowing them not only to improve yield but to reduce the use of chemicals, right? And therefore reduce their costs.
What other industries do you think might start using drones in the near future?
Well, looking at what's going on in the marketplace, and you guys already mentioned, media is small at the moment, but it's growing at a phenomenal rate. So there's more and more applications, and I mentioned earlier we have companies who are now doing herding cattle, right? Using drones. It's the same with doing other animals like sheep, right? We're getting new applications coming in, like air taxis. We showed an example of Dubai. All these things are changing at a fast rate. The applications are only limited by our imagination.
How long do you think it will be before we start seeing applications like air taxis?
Well, look, in Dubai they've already started doing that earlier this year, and it was that popular that they've actually now, that was just a single person taxi. Now they've launched, only last week, launched a taxi that's got 2 seats in it. So it's only a matter of time before you'll start seeing it in other countries. But the challenges that we've got in Australia and America and Europe is the safety. We're a lot more safe, and which makes sense as well. You've got a ton of material flying around up in the air. You want to make sure that it's going to land safely just in case anything goes wrong.
And that's a theme that comes up a lot about safety, both that we need to make sure that drones are safe, and that one of the reasons we want to use them more is because it's safer than having people do some of the same jobs. Do you think that Australia is handling those issues about safety well?
Oh, absolutely. I know that CASA is working for all the major manufacturers to ensure that the first thing they're bothered about is that a drone will not damage property or people. And so we've got all our rules and regulations, which is what we teach. But on top of that, they're working with the manufacturers to say, okay, if this drone is a mechanical device, if one prop stops, what can you do to ensure that it'll come down safely? And so now, through artificial intelligence, the other 3 props will speed up, and it'll bring that aircraft down safely rather than it just drop out of the sky.
Great to know. Are there particular conditions that you think will make Western Australia a particularly great place for looking at drones as an industry and for innovation?
Well, look, I already know, because I see it in the number of people and the different industries that we're getting for training, that industry is now embracing drones because they see it as a tool and not as a toy. And that is really good news, because as they get traction in one industry and people get confident, then they are looking at using it in their own industries. We've got trained people who do building inspections. Well, look at that. This is a mature person who normally has to carry a ladder around, has a van to carry the ladder. Well, guess what? He stands at the bottom, on the ground, flies the aircraft, gets all the data he wants, better data, by the way, at a fraction of the time, at a fraction of the cost.
Electro Aero was founded by Australian innovator Joshua Portlock with the vision of safely propelling sustainable aviation. Beyond the environmental benefits, electricity and maintenance of electric aircraft cost significantly less than petrol and engine overhauls, making flying sustainably more affordable. Electro Aero have partnered with Pipistrel, an award-winning light aircraft manufacturer, to represent their Alpha Electro in Australia and facilitate affordable training for new recreational pilots. For commercial pilot training, Electro Aero is the exclusive distributor in the Asia Pacific for Sunflyer from Bayer Aerospace. The Sunflyer is aiming to be the first FAA-certified electric aircraft with a proposed flight endurance over 3 hours, assisted by solar panels on its wings. Electro Aero has invested in Trek Aerospace, the world leader in efficient ducted fan optimization. Together, they developed Flykart, a personal flying go-kart concept that can be transported on a trailer and employs redundant fly-by-wire systems for safety. They are also developing a line of integrated electric ducted fans called Electro Ducts. These will support a wide variety of VTOL and other aircraft manufacturers who desire safe, compact, and efficient propulsion systems. The long-term mission of Electro Aero is to commercialize fleets of electric air taxis to fly passengers quickly and affordably over city traffic and water. For this reason, Electro Aero has developed an automated booking system at Rottnest.aero for the existing Rottnest Island air taxi services. This collaboration has further proven the need for electric passenger aircraft. If you would like to collaborate with Electro Aero, please contact them today.
Safety considerations obviously are incredibly important with drones. At the moment, several people spoke about how drones can make life a lot safer by basically taking difficult and dangerous jobs and giving them to drones and robots.
That's right, and yeah, safety is has to be measured in several factors. If it's safer to use a drone, then people would go up there. Then even if it's risk of the drone crashing and causing some damage, it's still better than to avoid a person's life. So that sort of safety threshold is still quite often better with drones than without. Where people are maybe a little apprehensive is drones flying over populous areas, and that's really a function of the size and the damage they could cause. So we focus on the smaller electric drones that are only a few kilograms and could have very minimal impact if they did, heaven forbid, come down. When you start getting into the heavier drones, like 25 kilos or more, that's when they are quite hazardous and you have to be really focused on the safety aspects. We do feel that manned aviation is already going autonomous, like your commercial airliner flying you around the world is actually self-flyable. They just put pilots in there to be safe, and that's a similar principle with drones and eventually passenger drones. There's still going to be someone involved in the safe operation, whether that's in the passenger seat just observing or on the ground observing it remotely to keep everything safe.
We spoke about today about cybersecurity, drones and robotics. Do you think that drones are raising new issues for sort of cybersecurity and issues like that?
Privacy has always been a potential concern with drones, but to be honest, it's no more of a concern than every person's smartphone having a camera in it. So the ability to capture data within visual line of sight has always been there. So people, putting a camera phone over a fence is just as, if not more invasive of privacy than a drone flying at higher altitude. And the fact that there is sort of this open data of satellite imagery giving people the rooftops and whatnot already. So actually, yeah, the privacy of someone's building is already quite exposed. Drones don't make that any worse. From a cybersecurity point of view, and there is obviously the concerns about drones being in areas they shouldn't, like around prisons and whatnot, and there is some great technology to reduce that risk, and especially in airspace. So the biggest concern is that drones flown into airspace could interfere with a manned aircraft. So really prioritising the safety of manned aviation should be number one, and all the drone manufacturers and technologies should really be keeping out of those manned airspaces.
Anything about Western Australia in particular you think is really particularly promising for drones and drone innovation? Yeah,
we have an excellent opportunity. There's a lot of really good technologists and companies building the technology here, and we also have we have vast land that needs a lot of aerial data capture. So to some extent we've got the best of both worlds, that we've got the smarts and we've got the technologies, we've got the space to do it because it's not nearly as densely populated as other places. So we've got all this regional Western Australia to operate these drones safely and not interfere with or risk damaging any property. So in that regard, we actually have a large growth opportunity in Western Australia. The other aspect is for air taxis. We have a low enough population density that we can start air taxi trials with electric aircraft and work on these autonomous systems in areas that aren't as densely populated, like down at Murrayfield in Mandurah, up in Serpentine. Those sort of areas are close enough to the city that people could still go down there to do development work and to get flights, but not too densely populated that there's risks of crash landing in the city.
So do you think there are lots of opportunities for new jobs and growth in Western Australia in drones?
Definitely, I believe there's a huge growth opportunity in operators, so people getting their license to go out and operate, especially in the regional areas. So if they don't mind, FIFO work or driving out into the country to do aerial surveying work, there's a huge opportunity in that. And in engineering as well, in the development of the technologies. We're seeing a lot of researchers being brought into WA as well with expertise from NASA and other places because of the opportunity here.
Do you think we really got an interesting discussion about some of the range of innovations in WA today?
Yeah, I think so. Really range of presentations. All the speakers very interesting as well. But yeah, I find that, look, all those three topics, they sort of overlap each other. I think most of the speakers actually address that issue.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what else Innovate Australia does?
We do organize range of events, so summits like this one. So basically summits structure, usually we have panel of 5 or 6 speakers and MC running the event, and then long session for question answer. And or we're running smaller events, networking events, that's for specific industries. So like I said, we got Mining Innovation Network, we got Agriculture Innovation Network, the one upcoming Medical Innovation Network. Usually we have 2 speakers on that, and each one follow question answer.
What topics are you planning to talk about in the future?
The coming ones, actually, we're running very soon. We're running our Medical Innovation Network, and we have very fortunate because we have Professor Alan McKay-Sim, who is the 2017 Australian of the Year. He's going to be speaking at our network, so we're very excited about that. And also then in November, we have another summit like this one, and it's on creating jobs of the future. So that's going to be, I think, quite interesting because that's a very timely topic right now.
And that's it for the WA State of Innovation Summit on drones, cybersecurity and robotics. Many other interesting topics to follow in future summits.